There it is. We are live.
This one goes out to the ladies. Ever wonder what it's like being a woman in business? You got to go out there and be a go-getter. Here we go.
Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business
Bros.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? What are we on? Tuesday today already? Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
Man, time flies. James,
what is it, though?
Intro.
Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Take Action Tuesday, right?
Oh, yes, Take Action Tuesday.
Take Action Tuesday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the perfect guest for y'all today on this Take Action Tuesday. Today's guest built her brand on being a hashtag go-getter. So taking action is the name of her game. Our guest today has traveled around the world, inspiring and empowering women to believe that no dream is too big. Across her social media platform, this incredible guest reaches an audience of over 7 million people on a monthly basis, encouraging them to be the go-getters in their own lives. Our guest has been on all the major networks, ABC, Fox, NBC, and also featured in Forbes, Business Insider, NPR, and get this, at the United Nations headquarters. Woo! So tune in with us today to hear this from this amazing young lady whose passion is in empowering women around the globe to advocate for themselves and achieve their dreams. So joining us today from the Das Media Group, give a warm Business Bros Pod welcome to Shinjini Da.
Welcome to the program.
Woo!
I'm overwhelmed. This is the best intro ever.
Thank you.
That's what we aim for. That's a little James sprinkle of awesomeness that he does back there.
Amazing.
Also,
Google
search.
What that's all I do is put the name of our guest and the company, and then just click this article, click that article. I got like 10 windows open. I'm like, let me pick a little bit from here, a little bit from here, and put this all together, and boom, there it is.
But it shows you what you've done, Shinjini. You've done some amazing things already, and you're a young one. So how the heck did you get into this whole entire space?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And I'm glad you asked that. And James, same. I mean, the fact that you did all this research and you are an online entrepreneur. You are very much a digital entrepreneur. So I'm just overwhelmed and so happy that you are almost like what I'm preaching and what I'm teaching. You are a go-getter. So both of you are. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I was discovered is how everything started, which is pretty interesting. And it's a good story. It's a really good story, which is that I was discovered on Twitter, and I was tweeting all these different, again, not controversial, nothing is controversial, but I was saying things like girls should be go-getters, and I was saying that girls should be ambitious and women should have goals. And for whatever reason on Twitter, I know why, but it was very different, it was just very, very different on Twitter, especially. And so immediately I got picked up by a publicist who wanted to put me on TV, and she called me like this publicist darling, good messages, like empowerment, like nothing is controversial, right? Like empowerment is not controversial. And so
I'm gonna step in here. Empowerment can be controversial, right? And I think the reason why it's so powerful is because you're giving women that ability to say, look, I know you had barriers. I know you're at 75, cents to the dollar that you're earning against your male counterpart. I know you might be a mother at home and you have kids that you feel you have to take care of, but it doesn't mean you stop your dream. You can still go out there and get it. And that
with the patriarchy.
Exactly. See, and it is controversial in itself, but it's not, you're not doing it to divide, you're doing it to include.
Right. Totally. So from that aspect, it's like all good things and all. So that's how, she was just really excited about my message and excited about what I was doing. And that's how I actually found my start, Hernan. I won the sort of TV circuit for a little bit. I was on the TV circuit for a little bit and did like 9 interviews on television, local television. So nothing was at a full national scale. Everything was like Good Morning DC, Good Morning Sacramento, things like that. And it was super successful. I think the biggest contribution there, I would say, was just the messages. I mean, on TV, and I'm talking like daytime television in America. I mean, you've seen it. It's not, no one's talking about coding. No one's talking about robots for girls, and that was the stuff that I was talking about. So I felt just being on these television sets that there's something different here. You know what I mean? Like there's something different going on here. I've never seen morning segments about coding. I've never seen morning segments. And also I just want to add morning segments about coding from an engineer. You know what I mean? So I've seen a lot of like, advocates and actresses and whatever else, which is great. And I love all of them. I seriously do. No one loves them more than me. But the issue that I had was none of them have coded in their life. So here they are sort of teaching and preaching girls to code, and girls are going back saying, yeah, but they've never done it. So while I was on TV that first year, I was just overwhelmed that I knew something different was happening here. You know what I mean? Because I'm this person, like walk the walk. I'm an industrial engineer from Georgia Tech. I've coded, I've built a digital media company. I've built all my followers, from nothing on my own platform with very minimal usage of ads. So I just knew that there's something here. And that first year being on these 8 to 10 different talk shows, again, first time on TV, never been on TV in my life. I'm still not media trained, so I'm a very DIY person, do it yourself and do it as you go. And that's when I thought, oh my gosh, I think this could be a business, but I don't even know what business it is. Cause I mean, I am an immigrant, I am Indian, like no one does this, in my community. And so in my case, it's like, who do I even go to for help? I mean, it was just such a difficult time, both of you guys. I mean, it was just so hard to figure out what business this even is. What business am I trying to go into? I mean, no one around me was helpful, and it was a real struggle, but again, Google helped me a lot in researching, like, okay, so if I want to do media, what does that mean? Oh, I want to do media content. So how do I monetize that? I mean, I had to look up everything.
So let's hover on that, because there are people who are in the podcasting space or in their business space, and they start to develop this audience. And maybe they don't have a business like yourself, and they're getting ready to do something. They see the value in having people listening to their opinions, listening to their ideas. Right. Same with us, but you found a way to do something with it. You did start to build a business with it. You got a little bit of a head start with the TV circuit, mm-hmm. but you could have easily gone up on that ride and then fallen off, and nothing could have, happened from that. But you managed to turn it into something. Walk me through that process. What did you end up doing where you decided, this is how I'm going to monetize this thing?
Yeah, no, and I thank you for sharing that, Hernan, because again, the culture that I come from, it's still like, oh, social media is silly, like this is all, silly. So thank you for recognizing that, because obviously I recognized it, which is why I did it. But I feel like so many, they don't really understand really any of this, you know what I mean? Like they don't understand how media works. They don't understand how social media works. Like they think it's all a joke, and they're like, oh, social media, it's funny. I use it to watch cat videos, but like there's real businesses being built on this that are, $1 billion businesses. So thank you for saying that. I just want to start with that. Basically for me, I think it was always the goal, I'll be honest. I think just because growing up, it was a real divide for me that, I'm this person, I love media. I love watching these, whatever, news programs or even Hollywood or Bollywood. I'm Indian, right? These movie industries. But there was this gap of like, okay, so either you're really smart or, you just like didn't go to school, right? So there's no in between, of empowering educational motivational content, and to this day, I don't think that's changed, because I follow everyone who's anyone, and I'm still not entirely impressed with really anything that I see.
Is that like a in your culture? Is that like a cultural thing we're talking about, or just in general?
Globally. Yeah, globally. I mean, if you point me to one content source that's intelligent, motivating, exciting, led by a woman of color, where she is front and center, she's unapologetic, she's out there, like there's just not that many examples, or if there are, then right now she's 65, so that was the divide, that either there's that one person who's 70 or there's no one, so growing up, I felt this a lot, but then life took over, so I was in school, I was at Georgia Tech, I was studying, I worked at Deloitte for a little bit in technology consulting, I worked at a digital marketing firm for a little bit, life took over. I'm an immigrant, like you got to do what you got to do. You have to check the boxes, you have to be successful. So I did that. And then ultimately I just realized I don't like any of this. And so I think for me, getting discovered on Twitter was huge, because I was using Twitter as a platform to let out my frustration almost, so saying things like girls should be go-getters, because guess what? Most girls are not go-getters. You see what I'm saying? So I was tweeting these things of things that I wanted to happen, but that weren't happening, so things like women should build tech companies, women should be the, it's like the opposite of everything that was happening, because even to this day, we're in a real minority, and then women of color is like a whole different, low, so for me, that was kind of how it all started. So I think with the media attention, what I'm answering to you is I saw television exposure as my way in, you know what I mean? So while a lot of other people would have just said, oh my gosh, I'm 23, because I was 23 when I got discovered. It's like, I'm 23, I'm on TV, I made it. I knew that like God is giving me a break, because between you and me, Hernan, it is very, very, very difficult to get on TV and to do any of this stuff that I'm doing as a person who, I don't know, just didn't, have any connections, or who didn't, have some like weird thing happen. Like you win this one, I don't know, beauty pageant or election, or you know what I mean? Like those are those one-off instances.
Well, let's dig a little bit on that, because you are a woman behind the camera. You are constantly behind the lens. It's part of your image. It's part of what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
But when my wife gets up and we're gonna go somewhere, and for me, I throw on a t-shirt, I throw on my shoes, I put on a hat, and I'm ready to go. Yeah. And she's not, right? She has to take her time and make sure to do her hair and get her makeup ready. Being a woman in with a lot of eyes on you is not the easiest thing in the world. Right. You probably, with that many eyes on you, you are always going to have those people who are criticizing you, who are critiquing you. And you have to deal with that, as well as the people who are pushing you in a positive direction and encouraging you. How are you, dealing with that on a regular basis? How do you, use that platform to share with other women? When we're going through COVID, there are women who put on COVID weight. Like that a lot of people in general put in that COVID weight, right? But yet you have the confidence still to sit here behind the camera. How are you helping those go-getters push through that to get their confidence to be at that level?
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful question, Hernan. I appreciate you asking. Honestly, and I stress this all the time, Hernan, it's about my mindset, so I know as a woman that there are days when I'm going to be at a great weight, and I'm going to be super fit. I'm going to look super sexy, and there are days when I won't, but you know what? I think for me, I've never relied on that, because I rely on my mindset, and I rely, like literally right now, like I'm looking at the screen, I'm like, oh, like I should work, but then I'm like, no, I'm focusing on what I'm saying. So honestly, I think it's been good for my brand and good for my message to really focus on, hey, there are times when you're going to feel terrible. There are times when you're going to feel really, hot and attractive or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's your mindset, and I think for me, the one thing that I'm proud of is at any weight, at any stage, my mindset has always been, A+. So I think for me, that is what gets me through. And that's what I teach. That's what I preach, because I'm on Twitter all day. Twitter is my biggest platform. And that's what I say is, as a go-getter, what are you doing to move yourself forward? I just tweeted right now, I said, if you're following me, I am a one-way road to personal growth, for you, because right now I have a lot of developing country followers, right? Or go-getters, right? Nigeria, Tanzania, India, Middle East, because they really relate to me on a level that frankly, I think is unprecedented, because they have never had a figure that they can look up to. And that's the number one thing that they tell me, is that I've never had a motivational speaker. Nobody talks to me properly, you know, because it's all just like stress and everybody's mad and everybody's yelling at them. So I'm coming in saying, you're great, you're a go-getter, let's go get your goals, let's figure it out. So I think my focus, Hernan, has always been on the mindset. And that's what I'm focusing on. Having said that, you know, weight loss and all, I just actually wrapped up a digital campaign, a partnership, content partnership about that. And you know, I just dealt with it like, hey, here's an app, you know, you can track your weight, you can do this, but like, take your time. You know, if it's going to take 3 months, it's going to take 3 months. And that's actually my attitude, you know, because I know that if I rush and I go crazy trying to, I don't know, lose the weight or whatever, like it's just not worth it, you know? So I think that's how I look at it, is that the mindset first, and that's in our control, but the weight and the looks and the this and the that, it takes some time, you know. And then on a day-to-day basis, you know, I tell this all the time. I said, look, I don't really even wear makeup on a day-to-day basis. And that's been my life from day one. But honestly, I take it as a challenge now that I have to be presentable and beautiful and successful, just being me, you know, and being natural. And so I think that's been a really fun, you know, thing to explore and share with the girls following me, that you don't need makeup every day, you know, just a little lip gloss, just brush your hand, then you're done, you know, because and also just more than anything, it's a lot of work to put the face on and then to take everything off, and just the details, it's going to drive you crazy doing that every day, you know. So again, the focus is on, as a go-getter, what is your mindset? Are you moving forward? Are you progressing? Are you going and getting your goal? So that's the focus.
Yeah, and it's cool that you started well, your audience is in those other countries, and you know, people of color. Because when I found you, it was I don't know, before we even started the podcast. So it was like 2 years ago, or a little bit longer than that. And I would see this young girl talking about being a go-getter on stage, you know, speaking to people, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And as I kind of dove into your content a little more, I was like, oh well, maybe, you know, maybe she's only aiming towards women. And then I started seeing guys in your stuff, and I was like, oh, you know what? She's actually just speaking this content. And as you developed, as your following grew, now you've become that, you know, you're becoming that iconic person for those people of color. Yet they're not always here in the US, where we get so many more opportunities than you do out there. That messaging that you're putting out, are you seeing, like, what does it feel like when you see people take your message and begin to implement it in their lives and share with you their wins and their victories and their life-changing point of view? What has that been? How has that experience been for you?
I mean, Hernan, I'm overwhelmed. You know, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, I have girls who are, you know, just various issues. I mean, going through abuse, they're suicidal, they're just giving up, you know. And in some cases, you know, if you look at what they've gone through, it's you can understand their point of view, you know. And just getting messages like, you know, you spoke to me, you talked to me, and I am no longer, you know, feeling like my life has no worth. You know, I am no longer feeling like I have no worth. I think that's indescribable. You know, I think it's really just unbelievable, you know, and I'm hearing this every day. Nigeria, same. I mean, this girl just today, go get a girl, you know, she said that, you know, you are my motivation. You know, I rely on you to get through my days. You know, I rely on you to get through my life. And again, it's a cultural thing, you know, and I do think that's why we're relating, because Indian culture and just any other immigrant foreign culture, we're not praise driven, you know. And I'm saying this as a person with significant privilege. You know, I'm now a citizen here, I'm an American, and, you know, my family has done everything and more for me, you know, with me. I am privileged, but even my culture, like the praise, like compliments were rare, you know. So it was one of those things where you know that you're good, you know, but it's like, if you never tell somebody that, right? If you never tell somebody that they're great, that what they're doing is enough, you know, they're going to get some issues, you know, because they never feel like they're enough. And that's the number one issue that I'm facing with these go-getters in Tanzania, in, you know, Nigeria, in Kenya, in Dubai, in Middle East, all these countries, Japan, China, everything, that they're saying, oh my God, you compliment me more than my dad. like they're saying this to me, which is just unbelievable. So everything from helping girls finish law school, because they saw me as an educated role model, because the number one also feedback is you are an educated woman of color role model, and I want to get my master's. So that again puts me at a unique bracket, right? As a woman of color, in the future, hopefully with a master's degree, with an engineering degree. So they're really excited, so they're like, I'm finishing law school because of you. I'm finishing medical school because of you. And by the way, I was going to drop out. That's the caveat, is they were going to drop out. It was in Honduras. I was just there with the U.S. Department of State, and she was going to drop out. And she's like, no, I saw you, and like I relate to you, and I'm not going to drop out anymore. So just things like that, I think is just insane, because I think about my life and who was that person for me that like, I didn't drop out of engineering school because of her. And I mean, I'm very, very positive, but I'll be honest with you, I did not have a female engineering role model, especially in the media.
Yeah, you're able to show people that I like that they are enough, that they have what it takes inside of them to do something. And speaking of not having enough, I think it's time for our
nice transition, bro. I like that.
I try sometimes,
Yeah, you
been doing this for
488
episodes.
488, man, that's pretty good stuff. All right, well, Ham's insurance tip of the day is umbrella insurance. This is something that a lot of people don't know about or talk about. People have probably heard of it, but not a lot of people actually carry it. So just to give you a quick example here, let's say that you are driving down the road and everything's going fine. You're not distracted by trying to do a selfie. You're not distracted by the Facebook. You're not distracted by kids in the back or the radio. None of that stuff is going on, right? Your brakes just give out and you fly through a stop sign and you crash into somebody else's car. Let's say that other car that you crash into, they're 35 years old and they can never work again. That means that you're responsible for 30 years of their income. If they only make $30,000 a month, or I'm sorry, $30,000 a year, you're responsible for $900,000 worth of damages to that person. Now, your insurance bill, your insurance company is going to go ahead and pay out what they're going to pay out, but it's not going to be enough to cover that $900,000. That's why you need to have umbrella insurance, especially if you are a homeowner. In San Diego, the average home is going for $500,000. Most of your insurance policies are going to max out at $250,000 per person. That means that there's this big gap between what the company will pay and what you owe on your home. And next thing you know, they're going to come after your home, make you sell, put a lien on it, something along those lines. So talk to your agent about umbrella insurance. That's Ham's insurance tip of the day. Find me at on Twitter at InsuranceBroHam.
Nice little promo there. All right, Shinjini, you ready? Let's have some fun. We're going to do two truths and a lie. So you're going to come up with two truths and a lie. Here we go. All right. So you're going to come up with them, share them with us. And then James and I are going to kind of think about it and see if we can guess which one was the lie. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, go for it. Share.
Okay. I'm an engineer. I am really shy. And I lived in Malaysia.
Let's see. Traveled the world. Well, we know
she's a speaker.
She has a degree in engineering, but is she an engineer?
Ooh,
that's a toughie, right?
And also, even as a speaker, just because she's a speaker doesn't mean that she's an extrovert. I know many introverted speakers. Did you live in Malaysia though? Been all over the world.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say, me personally, that she's lying about being shy. That's gonna be my guess. James?
I'm gonna say you never lived in Malaysia.
Right,
this is good. This is good. So I will say there's a distinction between being shy and being introverted, which is something that I've recently learned. So shy, I think as a child, I was very shy. And that was a lot of like low self-confidence and probably a little bit of social anxiety, to be honest. But I've gotten over that. I'm introverted, but today I wouldn't consider myself shy. So that's
the lie.
That is a lie. I've lived in Malaysia and I am an
Lived in Malaysia and are an engineer. So are you still working as an engineer on top of this other career?
No. So Hernan, I've been full-time for going on 4 years this September. So no, I've been full-time with my media company for almost 4 years. Honestly, industrial engineering is process improvement, and it's also like optimization. It's people and processes. And frankly, that's all I do every day. So I have called it a digital media supply chain, which by the way is a real thing. That is not something I came up with. It's called digital media supply chain. And frankly, that is my job. So I funnel people onto my platforms, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And then it's like, what do they do then, right? Then it's like, okay, they have to follow me on other platforms. Great, that's one process. Okay, awesome. So they follow me on other platforms. Then I have to make them turn on their notifications for my posts so that they see it, because visibility is a big thing. And then I'm selling my memoir at 26 called Unapologetically Shinjini, which is on the bottom of the screen, to show how I became a go-getter. So it's a sales call, right? And then the second thing is a branding consultation. So I'm selling that. So if you think about that process flow and then tracking everything and then every day watching my metrics, seeing if we're going up, going down, like this is industrial engineering. I'm just doing it online, versus like at Walmart or whatever.
And then are you consulting, when you consult with people, are you consulting to help them do similar processes, or is it directly just for the book sales and your processes?
No. So it's basically, how do you brand yourself like a go-getter? So I'm dealing with small businesses and I'm dealing with individuals as well. We're not really doing corporates, we're not really doing corporations yet. So this is very much small businesses and just like, hey, I am an author. I just want to work on my social media. Great. So my principle is sort of the go-getter, framework, or the go-getter methodology, and like how the go-getter does branding, on social media. And so I have a message to monetization framework, basically, that I am using in all of my 1 hour go-getter consultations. And they're going really, really well. So they're noticing how to funnel the right people onto my platform, because there's a lot of issues. Like people are just randomly trying to get followers. And I learned this day one, you guys, that you cannot build a business with random people online. It has to be the right people. They have to have the right budget. They have to care about what you're saying, and I definitely have learned that the hard way, because in the beginning I thought motivation, everybody needs motivation, right? But it's not that simple. It's like, if you follow me because you need motivation, but you're never going to buy anything because you're not ready to invest in yourself to become a go-getter, then you are not my ideal customer, at the Das Media Group. Because basically the Das Media Group, what I envision is that it is going to be the vehicle to build on my message, right? So we'll have different products, we'll have an original content division, we'll have a platform, but the message is the message, which is how to be a go-getter, in life and love and business and relationships and career and money, so I think that's the framework that we're going with. And more than advice, I really want it to be motivation to go get your goals, because I don't want to fall into the trap of like, this is my advice, and if you don't take this, you suck, that's not really my style. So it's very much like inclusive and, hey, we're go-getters and let's go, let's get motivated, to take control of our finances, of our this, of our health, so it's very positive. It's very uplifting. So that's my vision. But every day, dude, I'm an industrial engineer. I have never used my degree more. I'll be honest.
So when you mentioned your ideal client, your messaging is motivational to more than just your ideal client. So does that mean you're separating Shinjini from Das Media Group in the sense that your message can be for anybody, but
right.
Das Media is targeting a specific clientele within your messaging? You
are so smart, Hernan. Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like most people just, like slides over their head. But you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'll be honest with you in saying that the majority of my online audience is international at this point. So again, outside of the United States, so Nigeria, most African countries, India, Pakistan, London, England, Dubai, things, again, they relate to me. They relate to me on a really deep level, but my customer base is exclusively North America for the most part, between Canada and US, you could say, so yeah, 100%. There is a difference. And I'll tell you why. It's because the vast majority of people who need motivation are financially struggling. So if that makes sense, which is not hard to believe. Like once I did my analysis, again, industrial engineering, to figure out why so many of them were struggling to afford even $12.99. Like my book, it's an ebook, it's $12.99. And then the consults are a little bit higher. A lot of people are messaging me saying that I don't have $12.99, right? So that put everything into perspective for me, that there is a vast majority that need the motivation to go get their goals, but they probably won't be clients, to be honest, but they're going to be social media evangelists, for me. They're going to be my social media brand ambassadors, which is exactly what's happening today, Hernan. I mean, my, Nigerian, Kenyan, Tanzanian go-getters, maybe they can't afford, right, my products at this point, but biggest social media fans, and then just things like this, that you're helping me get through law school, you're helping me get through medical school, there's no price on that. So that is the payment, right, from them. And then of course, North America, they're able to pay for their consultations, they're able to pay for my book. So I think that's how I'm almost positioning it, that the funds from North America almost fund everything else, because I have major plans of helping, developing countries. Because again, I work with the US Department of State with a focus on Latin America, and then I'm sure a focus in the future on Asia, and of course on Africa. So those three are my areas of focus: Latin America, Asia, and Africa. Like I feel like even in the future, even if I get huge in Europe, I just feel like these three are going to be my babies, you know what I mean? Who I really want to I want to change things in Kenya. I want to change things in Nigeria. I want to change things in India, because a lot of it is just these women, especially it's prohibitive. They're going to work, they get raped. They're trying to go on a bus, they get assaulted. It's just all a mess, so somebody needs to come in there, or a team, and say, hey, you guys, what are we doing here? Where's the public safety? What's going on? And because here's my message is be a go-getter, right? So they're messaging me back is I tried to be a go-getter and I got assaulted, So I guess what I'm saying is, in the beginning, I honestly thought that that's not my problem. I'll be honest with you. I thought that, she's, struggling with all this. So that's not my problem. And then I thought, but I'm telling her to go get her goals. And on the way to school, she doesn't make it to school. So all of a sudden now this becomes my problem, because the bus got attacked or whatever, And so I think those are the things that I'm personally working through. It's what does that mean? Does that mean I partner with the UN? Does that mean, again, not me, but Das Media Group partners with the UN so that's kind of where I'm coming at from everything. But thankfully, hopefully North America will continue to fund all of those things, because they may not have the financial resources, but I can't leave them behind, because if I do, then they will always be behind, because people in America, at least people who I've met, they don't really care about international. So
yeah, it's kind of hard when you're detached to you're stressed out about, why is my Wi-Fi not working because I can't watch my Netflix show, right?
Correct.
Perspective, right? Or throwing away your dinner. My mom used to always tell there's starving kids in Africa who would love to have that, and you get that little bit of perspective. I live in San Diego, so we're right next to the border, and as a kid we would cross the border and donate clothes and food and all that sort of stuff. And just for us, it's like a 20-minute drive to get to the other side. Just that 20-minute drive is night and day. There's a completely different lifestyle over there, and it really truly gives you perspective and admiration for the things that you have, for the opportunity that you have here in this country, because over there they're overcoming more than just my Wi-Fi is not working. I mean, it's a big, huge difference. So yeah, I can completely understand how that is. But you've also helped me vindicate myself in what I've been doing, because I'm separating what I do here on the show and how I help people start their podcast separately.
Yeah.
Like these
Yeah.
are two different things. I give away a lot of value. I give away a lot of information. I give away a lot of different things. But it's separate from when I'm actually helping a particular client. So I'm glad to hear that, you know, when I'm hearing your story and I'm hearing you connect, I'm like, okay, that makes sense because I'm doing something very similar.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Gary Vee, I mean, he is the poster child for that model, right? I mean, his agency, obviously that is a paid service, has big corporate clients, etc. But his personal brand, you know, most of the content is free. You know, and he's very proud of that. You know, he's very proud to offer content for free. And actually, he has a pretty large international audience as well. I see a lot of keynotes in Asia. I see a lot of things. And again, not everyone has the financial ability probably to work with his company, right?
Yes.
Because it's a 5-figure, 6-figure, I'm assuming, contracts, you know, for branding and digital marketing, et cetera. So so I mean, I think it's a very similar model. I love it. I think even him, like the kind of brand loyalty that he's already inspired, it's really inspiring, you know, because that's one thing, you can't fake it. Like if the loyalty is not there, you cannot fake it. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. It is the most pure form of support, you know, which is why I am so passionate about my developing country audience, because it is the most pure form. They tell me, they're like, I have no money, but I love your content. And so for me, I'm like, that's huge, you know, because I know that you're busy. I know that you have 10 siblings at home. You know, I know that you're struggling to go to school, but still in the middle of that, you want to see what I'm saying. I don't even need money.
Yeah,
you know,
I was gonna say the dollars are important, but for some reason, it's those kinds of messages. Those are the reasons why you get up. When you don't feel like doing it, you do it anyways.
Yes,
because you know that those people are counting on you. It means so much more to them than you deciding, you know what, my phone's all the way over there. I don't want to pick it up.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know, and even like just today, I heard from a girl in Canada, like abusive marriage. She's like, no, but I'm a go-getter. Like I got out, and I'm just like, that's crazy. Like that's insane. You know, because when I think of being a go-getter, it's like go get your goals. Like it's very positive. You know, so I am overwhelmed that they are using it in very difficult, very dark situations. You know, to get out of those situations. I mean, I'm really overwhelmed. So
and yet you're a bright light.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing, and you know what, Arnott, it has been a real struggle over the last few weeks, because I mean, every day, right, it's like new murder, right? Literally, wake up, new murder, and all these videos on Twitter, none of them have any caption or anything, so it's literally like body after body after body. Like if you scroll down, and like sometimes I've been just caught unaware. I'm like, what is this playing? You know, so it's been so dark. You know, and it's been so dark. Hey, Bonnie, it's been so dark. But I have realized that they follow me for my light, you know. So if I also become dark because everything sucks, then there's no point anymore. You know what I mean? So I think that has been a huge challenge to me, that even though every day I feel like there's a new calamity, and I mean it. I mean, you name it, we have it going on right now, right? So, you know, my go-getters, some of them, their family has passed from COVID. You know, they're struggling. Some of them were caught in the protests and the marches. I mean, it's just every day. And the thing is, we have that relationship where they DM me everything, where they share everything. So it's not like I'm asking them about, hey, how's your mom? It's like they're telling me like, hey, my mom died. I'm like, that's like, what do I even say? You know, so I think like it's just been actually very challenging to maintain my lightness, you know, because again, I started all this like really young, and I don't want to say like I wasn't jaded, but you know, just kind of like, you know, fresh eyes. And now it's like, man, like literally some days I wake up like this and I'm like, no, I gotta get back to who I am and who I know I am. And yeah, but it is a struggle. Also because, you know, anything that I say, like, you know, very positive, it's like, go get your goals. They're like, you don't understand. You know, I'm in Nigeria, I need money. You know, so just things like that. That's when I really start going, oh, like there's a two-pronged way to deal with this, right? Motivation is important and it's critical. It is critical. But some of these people need jobs. They need resources. They need this. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a great avenue to partner. You know, that's a great avenue to. So I told them, I was like, you guys, I'm not ignoring this. Like, absolutely, I understand that you need jobs, you need money, but just stay with me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't fix everything in one day. So stay with me. Today it's motivation, but 100, I mean, every day they're like, not even just money, but can I work for you? That's the number one question is, can I work for you? I need a job. And a lot of these women, because even if they
It's got to
have
break your heart, right? It's got to break your heart to not be able to help every single person.
I know it's every day, but at the same time, again, using my industrial engineering background, it's like, how do I scale this help? So what does that mean? Does that mean we partner with a NGO? Does that mean that we create a job accelerator in Nigeria? Like, what does that mean? So I think that's where my head is at. Because I know that with the degree that God has blessed me with, I know that God wants me to think more than just, oh, these 5 people need jobs. It has to be a scaled solution. But it every day, because also they're very honest. That's what happens. Like when you're a person of color and you've been through so much, like you have no ability to be fake. I've noticed that with everyone online. It's just because they've been hurt so much, and they've been let down so much that there's no room for fake anymore. So they will just tell me, like, I need a job, for literally making this much because I have these expenses. Like they will screenshot me their bills, and that's when it's overwhelming for me because again, I'm like motivation. And that's when I'm like, you guys, I understand we're getting there, just give me some time. Right now we are just focused on the mindset. Cause I truly believe, if you have the right mindset of a go-getter, the rest, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that there turns out to be solutions versus like obstacle after obstacle. There's no path for me, so like literally the number one thing that they tell me is, Shinjini, I'm just making ends meet. I said, no, you're not making ends meet. You're a go-getter going and getting your goals. I know it's a very small shift, but I do believe it's a shift. Yeah. Because when you say stuff like, I'm just trying to live and not die, literally, that's what some of them say, it just becomes very dark, So
if we can shift that mindset just a little bit, if we can say you're not ending here, you're starting here. Correct. Right. This is the beginning point. There's more to life. You have more opportunity. You have the ability. You just got to shift, that little bit of thinking in your mind and realize, the fact is you woke up this morning, and because you woke up, you have the opportunity to change whatever it is that sets out before you. You might trip, you might fall, you might, get a cut. We'll rub some dirt on it. We'll bandage it up, but you're going to keep going.
100%. And that's a beautiful way to say that, because I literally, like, at least a couple of times a day, Hernan, I tweet, celebrate you're alive, because sometimes I feel like they just need to hear that. And I'm very grateful, because the thing is the American, Caucasian audience, they love my motivation. They love it. Like, it's so positive. It's so this, but it's a very different impact with people of color and people of color internationally, not US based. Because it's not even underserved. There's zero attention on them, so it's not even like, oh, the, go-getters in Nigeria are underserved. They are not served. Underserved means they are less than served. They are not served at all. So that's why I like to say it's not underrepresented. They are not represented. Zero. So it's not underrepresented, it's not represented, so those are the facts. I'm not trying to, and I don't treat them with sympathy. I'm very like empowered. I'm like, no, you're a security guard. You're like, let's treat it with dignity. It's not, I'm not going to cry for you.
Well, you have been a beacon of hope. I've like I said, I've been following you for, I want to say close to about 3 years now. And nothing but positivity coming out of you. Every once in a while, I can feel some frustrations in a couple tweets every now and again, but they're frustrations because you're not getting things done that you want to get done at the speed that you want to get done to help enough people. And you can kind of sense that in some of those tweets every once in a while. They're not directed at any individual. It's more like you're venting, like, I want to get this done and I'm stuck here, and I'm, and I can, hearing your story, I can see where some of that frustration comes from. You're carrying the weight of so many people's problems on your shoulders, and you're trying to make as big a change as you possibly can. But you're one person, right? And so, but luckily for us, you do got that degree in engineering. You're gonna set up this stuff to scale, and you're just getting started. You've only begun to scrape the surface of what you're capable of. So again, thanks for coming on the show, and keep doing it. Keep being you, keep sending that message, that bright light, because, it doesn't matter how deep the storm is, that boat can see the lighthouse. And if you can see the lighthouse, you have a path. There's a way to get through that storm. So keep shining that light, Shinjini. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. No, and I appreciate that. And you won't even believe or not, even for me, sometimes I think that, it's just one tweet, whatever. But then I look at the impressions and it's 20,000 views. That's 20,000 people who now have inspiration who didn't have it before. So I think even just as a parting message to all of you, listeners and watchers, no action is too small. Because even with everything that we're going through now, there's a lot of blame of like, what are you doing? Not me, but like all of us, what are you doing for the, protests and this and that? And I want to say that no action is too small. If you can only donate $25, you're going to donate $25. But guess what? That might be 3 boxes of rice. That might be 4 boxes of cereal, at $5 each. So no action is too small. And I'm really realizing that every day, because for me, sometimes I do things like a tweet, like who cares? But then I see that they're glued to their phones and they have data, and it becomes a resource for them to not give up. So now I know my perspective has changed, that it's no longer just an Instagram post, right? Just a story, just a podcast, just a tweet. This is actually their lifeline. Especially considering some of the people that we're reaching who, again, may not have other avenues.
Well, you're doing a great job, and I look forward to continuing to see what you do in the future. I'm one of those, shining lights. And again, thank you very much for coming on the show. Anything else that we're going to drop your stuff here on the screen. I want you guys to go check out Shinjini's stuff. If you're not following her, make sure you do. Such positive messaging. And go to her website, unapologeticallyshinjini.com. Get a copy of her book, $12.99.
Yes.
I mean, remember, it's helping out more than you know. You're going to get the inspiration you need. You're going to get the help you need to become a go-getter. But at the same time, you're helping out people who are not represented. So make sure you guys check that stuff out.
Try to make the world a better place.
That's right.
Conversation was so good, I only had to drop one movie line this whole time. Thanks for writing that, Shinjini.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This was fantastic. I appreciate you guys.
All right, ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys on Tuesday. Make sure you guys follow Shinjini. Go be a go-getter. That's all we got for you guys today. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.